Okay guys, so the way this trim panel comes out is this tab goes up underneath the dash right here, and then there's a clip right here that goes into this hole back here, and then you got a guide pin here, and then there are these red clips down here, and sometimes they'll snap out of there. These two red clips here stayed in. These stayed in the panel. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to fish this thing back up underneath that. But if you got a little small pair of pliers or a flathead, you can go ahead and pry that out of the body. The main connector for the P2138 code is back here behind this panel. So at this point, I'll take the phone. The connector sits right back here. This main connector. And it's kind of a trick to get it out of there because there is there's a little tab underneath that you got to pull forward. It's a little spot in the center that you got to kind of depress. So I just put my finger under it, popped right out of there, and that little tab sits right here in the middle of the connector. Just pull forward and pull up. It'll pop right out of there. And if you look, when I pull this out, you can see where the mechanic before put all kinds of dielectric grease and stuff in there, saying, oh, that'll fix your problem, you know, just reseal up your rubber boot on the outside of the door and then water will stop getting in there. Well, that wasn't the problem. It broke down on my uncle, and they actually had to replace this whole entire assembly right here. The accelerator pedal position sensor is what was causing an issue with the reduced engine power. And I went to GM, they charged me $182. They just stuck a new pedal and stuff in it. Up here, you can see the connector for it, and in the side, it's where like the potentiometer setup is. So as you push the pedal down, the computer reads a positive number and a negative number, and when those numbers don't jive and move at the same time, that's when the computer knows there's a problem, and it goes into a limp mode. So this was the pedal. Assembly was the actual fix. It was not what the mechanic was saying from GM on this connector on the side panel. So now I'm going to put everything back together so you guys can see how I put it back together. Here. This is ridiculous. So, I'll pull my carpet back. I'm going to slide, because this clip stayed in there, I'm going to try to get these two to go in at the same time. So I'm going to pull this down on an angle. I'm going to slide this tab back under there. Get that pin kind of semi-lined up. So there. Pull this back under. That clipped in. That clipped in. That clipped in. Now this is a little tough to put in if you've never taken it off before, but I pushed this in there all the way. Make sure this seals, because you get all kinds of wind noise and stuff back in the car if you don't seal this correctly. That's it, guys. It's that simple. So, if you get reduced engine power, pop this panel up, pull your weather stripping back first, pop the panel up, unclip your connector with the center tab, pull it out, look at it, see if anything's corroded, put it back in there. Chances are you turn your car back on, it's going to start working fine. Or just turn your car off for 5 minutes and turn it back on, it's going to start working fine. But you will get the reduced engine power again until you probably replace the accelerator pedal position sensor. But there is a service message in for this boot back here in the door. my finger, the boot back here, not sealing against the panel correctly, and they say water gets down here and goes inside, and then it travels down the wires into that main connector. But that was not the case here. The actual case was replacing the accelerator pedal position right up there. All right, thanks guys.